What's going on, fellas? This is Sir Stud Muffin, leader of Affliction, and today is going to be another how to lead slash leadership video. And I think it's very important for me to say this, and you won't have anything on the screen, so I won't look at the screen that much. I'll let you know, but just listen. And I understand that not everyone will listen to it. That's fine, but I feel like it's important for me to talk about it. So today's subject is how to deal with a rough start or a rough situation while leading during war. So I'm just going to show you quickly. Oh, we're actually going to watch a live here. This is Arctic Rush on number 4, and we need a good 3. So I'm hoping to see something here, and that might liven up my mood a little bit. But anyhow, while this is going, if you can't guess already, this war has been very rough for us. We have had probably the worst start I've seen in a bit. We're a bit overmatched, and it's just been very tough as a result. I mean, you can just see kind of how this attack is already going. He's more than likely not going to 3-star. I can already tell just from looking at this. I mean, that was not a good heal. He had a GB right here. This attack's already petering out. He didn't really use his troops in conjunction with his main squad, and this is supposedly supposed to be a cleanup attack, right? So he's probably not even going to 2-star. This is probably a 1-star attack. Now I'm not putting him on the spot. He made a good try, but it was not. I mean, just not a good attack, hands down. I didn't look at the plan too much. I need to record this video. I need to talk about the arranged war with Brian. I need to move on from that, and I don't have time to really sit here and help everyone meticulously plan. Now that sounds terrible as a leader, but as a leader, it's very important to understand that as well. So what do I mean? And now, don't. There's no reason to look at your screen. He kind of struggled. So, like I said, you can just see from that attack. It's a good example. This is a rough war for us. Shouldn't be. And there's not a whole lot I can do as a leader to tell people, hey, plan more, or hey, practice, hey, do this, hey, let me tell you exactly how you to attack. Because in the end, the way they're going to attack, how they attack, is how they're going to attack. And if they do well, great. If they don't do well, you know what? There's not a whole lot I can do about that. I can take them, I can lead the horse to water, but I can't make it drink. That's an interesting saying, and that's actually kind of true here. So, what do, right? How do you deal with this situation? I'm sure a lot of people want to hear this because in the past, I have been very record oriented, and a loss to me is huge. Man, I can't stand it. I can't stand it because I put a lot of time and effort into the planning, into helping people, into deciding, what targets for people to hit, into giving us the best opportunity for war. But like I said, I can lead the horse to water, but I can't make it drink. I can do whatever I can to make us win, but in the end, I can't do it all. I can't do every attack. I mess up sometimes. I messed up this war already. I should have 3-star my first attack, and I messed up one heal and screwed my whole attack up. So that's kind of an interesting subject, but it's a very important one. And here's some of the things that I've learned. Number one, a lot of people care more about how established you are, if you do scrims, how well you can attack on a regular basis, how marketable you are, how friendly you are, things like that, instead of the record. Someone would rather join a clan that's 20-3 that has a great um, work ethic. They are active, they donate, they are fairly strong in war, they try and do a lot of scrims, than a clan that's 20-0 that wins everything, but they don't do scrims. their attacks are their wars are kind of easy, that kind of deal. And that might be obvious for some people, but for me before that wasn't obvious until I went and kind of talked to other people, right? Talk to other clans, see how they react to things. So what do I do now as a leader? How have I changed? What can I do? Because I've freaked out in the past. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I have freaked out a lot. I got pissed. I got sad. I got kind of depressed. I was like, how the hell can we fail so much when I try so hard? Right? And I'm sure a lot of people, leaders, can attest to this. So what do you do? What I do are a couple of things. Number one, if you mess up and you're the leader, whether you have a mini, whether you have one attack, two attacks, three attacks, four attacks, if you mess up, walk away. First thing, walk away for a second. Don't sit there and try and badmouth anyone else. Don't sit there and try and blame why you messed up, why you failed, because you gotta set a good example. So just walk away. It's better to not say anything than to try and start shit up, right? If you see a bad attack, same thing. Walk away. Don't say anything right away because you're more inclined to say something you'll regret right then and there. For example, Danny messed up and I knew his attack was not good. I knew his attack was not executed well, and he tried to blame it on planning, which I helped him with, which is essentially blaming me, right? And that pisses me off. It's like, how can you blame your mistakes on me, or blame it on your queen, or blame it on all these other things? Don't make excuses. That makes no sense. Own up, realize that you failed, figure out what you could have done better, and move on. Because that's all you can do, right? So I walked away. I didn't say anything. I just said, look, I'm busy, because I am. I need to make this video. I'm going to do an arranged war, and we're going to plan that out tonight. And I need to stay on track, right? So I can't sit here and get boggled down by all these little minor details of all these attacks. Now, what else do you do? How can you help? So what you also don't want to do is you don't want to sit here and overcrowd everyone and micromanage and say, hey, did you think about this? Now you want people to plan, you want people to go through their attacks, but as a leader, it is not your job to sit here. Oh, I'm getting kicked from activity. It's not your job to sit here and tell everyone what to do or go through every plan. That's not your job. You need to have already set up a system to where people are going to help each other, and it's not just I'm going to post and then Stud's going to check me off. That's not the environment you want to set up. And if you guys want a video on that, I'll get into that in another video, but not this video. So you don't need to go and figure everything out, right? You don't need to try and problem solve everything. And that's hard. That's really hard as a leader. But I encourage you not to. And the reason for that being is because, number one, you might make a mistake because you're trying so hard. Number two, you're setting a very tense environment and you want to help people, but you need to be able to take a loss too. You need to be able to help, but not overcrowd. And we won't talk about that anymore. Now, the next thing that you need to consider as a leader is, if in fact you do lose, take the worst case scenario. How are you going to react? What are you going to do? Are you going to say, hey, you attack bad, you're gone. You attack bad, you're sitting. You did this, gone. Are you going to go through the clan and just go crazy? And I've done that before. Don't get me wrong. I have done that shit before. And that's not smart. It's very immature. But it's hard not to do at the same time as a leader when you put a lot of time into it. So how do you react? Well, the best thing to do, same deal. Walk away for a second and just think. Don't do anything rash. It's like when you're angry or hungry or tired, you don't want to post on social media. It's the same concept. When you're in a bad state of mind, don't try and problem solve or do anything like that. Just relax, chill out for a sec, come back, and be ready to help. Okay? Now, you are going to have wars where you're going to lose. There is no clan that's going to be perfect. You might have a very rough start. But what I want you to remember is that losses occur, and how you react to that is very important. It is good for a clan to lose and learn. Learn from your mistakes, Find out what you could have done better. Could you have planned more? Could you have done different attacks? Could you assign attacks better? Could you have had a better environment for planning? What could you have done wrong? Figure out what you did wrong, because you obviously did something wrong. Maybe not as a leader, but as a clan. And that's very important. And that's why you have your Elder Co. That's why you have your War Clan teams to help you out and discuss things. Now, with the War Clan teams, let's assume you have the War Clan team system. In this war, when it's like this, you don't want to micromanage the chat, but you do need to micromanage in a sense of targets. You do need to see, you need to have a game plan. That's the best thing to do. It's what I've always done. So I look and I say, okay, if this person fails, who's going to go next? Boom, boom, boom. Let me tell you very quickly who you're going to hit as fast as I can. I'm going to try and check in periodically, and that gives you time to discuss and talk, because that's what you really need to do. You need to look at the base and figure out what you can do better. How can you improve? What can you do to clean up? And that's very important. And so that's what I do. Now, if in fact you do lose, do you want to remake? Well, that's an interesting topic. I'll briefly touch on that. The whole point of remaking is because you have gotten to the point where your record is bad enough for you to where you don't think you can recruit. That's the only reason you'd remake. Otherwise, there's no point, right? That's a clan decision, and it's very hard as leader not to just say, you know what, screw it, let's start over. It's very, especially if you're really hardcore. I think that's what I have issues with, because I say, you know what, screw it, let's do it, start over, no big deal, just move on, right? And it's hard to push on a little bit sometimes. I struggle with it, but I'm getting better, and I understand that you need to have transparency as a leader. You need to let people know straight up, hey, I am not happy with our record. I'm not happy with how things are going. We need to reassess. And if you do that, and you have people that care, then you can move on. And hopefully they will do practice attacks, which we have done, and I like to see that. And even though we've struggled in this war, the fact that my guys are doing practice attacks means that they care. Now, I want to be in tip-top shape for this arranged war, 100%. And I know their bases are going to be harder, so the shit that we're pulling right now is not going to work. So that's why we have things in place, a system in place, checks and balances in place, to where people are practice attacking. For example, if you fail an attack, do a practice attack. Figure out a practice attack maybe of that attack that you just failed. Figure out why you failed. Talk about it. Maybe be as a leader later on. Say, hey, this is what you could have done better. And you need them, though, to go to you. You don't necessarily need to go to them. Because if they have the initiative to go to you, that number one means they're a good member. And number two, that means they care. And that's what you need. If you tell them, hey, you did this, 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 and this wrong, without them asking you, number one, that's kind of annoying. Number two, that means that you have the wrong attitude in the clan. And number three, that's kind of a micromanagey, tense feeling. And some people don't want to hear what they did wrong all the time. Now, you need to have an environment where people are freely exchanging ideas and don't get butthurt over it. And I have had issues with that in the past, where I've said, "Hey, dude, you totally messed up. Like, what the hell was this? I don't know what you. I mean, I don't know what to say, right?" But you get better over time as a leader, and that's very important. And I think it's important for people to hear this. So, with that being said, the only time that I would see fit in terms of just totally starting over, if your clan has a shitty attitude, you might need to start looking at starting over. But if you start over, the whole point of this series, you need to make sure that you have a staff that supports you. That's very important. Because if you don't, then you don't need to be starting over. You either then need to move on and join a clan, or you need to keep pushing forward and try and keep trying. And that's your decision as a leader, and that's hard. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is people have said, or I've heard this, they said, hey, you think of this clan as your clan. But in a sense, it's a home for all of us. And that's very tough, too, as a leader. Because putting in all this time, it's hard for me not to think that this is my clan, right? I have started this clan. I have put so much time and effort into it. And so, yeah, I think of it as my clan, right? And that's hard to get out of. It's not a good attitude to have, though. And it's important for you as a leader to remember that you don't have a clan without the members. And when you totally screwball them, it's basically a punch in the face and saying, hey, dude, fuck you, but I'm sorry. I don't care about you. Goodbye. And that sounds harsh, and I've done that in the past. It's happened. It happens sometimes. It's sometimes your emotions get the better of you, and some people will be very understanding of that. And how you react is going to be important, because if you react well, people will be more inclined to rejoin. They will be more inclined to say, hey, he was a good leader. I'm going to follow him even though he screwed up and I don't fully agree with his actions. And that's why sometimes I'm able to have kind of a pull. And it's not to be egotistical, to quickly talk about ego as a leader, because that does happen. And this is all interconnected, and hopefully you can see that. And I'm trying to keep this fairly short. But the best way I say this, as a leader, you need to be confident and decisive, but at the same time, with your confidence, for as much of an ego that you might have surrounding your strengths, you need to equally recognize your weaknesses and be open about that. Because if you're able to be open about, hey, I screw up, and I know this, but I'm doing this, this, and this to change it, this, and this to make it better, etc. People will respect that, people recognize that, and people want to be a part of it. Someone to be associated with someone that's like that more. That makes sense. And if you think about it, that really does make sense. If someone knows what they're doing wrong, but they are trying hard to fix it, for me personally, I would be more inclined to follow them. I'd say, this person is a good person, and people make mistakes, and that happens, but they're trying, and that's important. So, anyhow, that's about going to wrap this video up, and I'm hoping we can pull this war out. I have a game plan, and my members kind of know that, and that's important. And I have said, hey, I'm kind of busy, because I am busy. I have a test tomorrow, but this game's important to me as well, and my test is later on the day. And I did go out tonight. I guess people don't necessarily need to know that, but I did. It's a game, but you need to have a game plan. You need people to know that you have a game plan so that they can trust you and that they're ready to go. So that about wraps this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And as always, this is Sir Studmuffin, leader of Affliction, and I'm out. Peace.